Welcome back to the Fluent Podcast. I'm your host, Ebony.
And I'm Tiffany.
Welcome back, Tiff. What episode is this?
Episode 8. Season finale.
Season finale of season 1, episode 8. I'm so excited. There's so many emotions I have right now.
Like what?
I had so many and they all left my head as you look at me. Side-eyeing me like what? I mean, I have so many. We're going to obviously unpack it today, but I think it starts with appreciation. We got to the studio like 9 hours ago and we're just hitting record 9 hours later. So it's the appreciation of being able to unpack life with you before we unpack life with others. Our transparency around life and the things that we're doing really well and the things that we have opportunity with. So I just want to welcome the Fluent family back to episode 8 and our season finale for our first season as podcast hosts. And just thank everybody for being here along the way. And if you've been with us all season, we thank you for staying. And we're excited to see what the future brings.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, that's what I'm happy about.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that anything is ending. It just means that we are continuing this type of communication with our listeners and eventually viewers, taking them beyond the couch, as we say now. Meaning, we know most of the people who are watching us are either in therapy or listening to us, are either in therapy or thinking about therapy. And with Tiffany and I have been in therapy for quite some time collectively, we know that certain conversations are beyond the chair. So beyond the couch, beyond the chair, whichever version you like to use, we're excited to see where we go from there. But this is our final episode,
Yes.
season 1.
Don't fret, everyone. Over the next 4 weeks, while we are on our hiatus, we'll be revisiting episodes 1 through 8 with you on YouTube and social media. We will be reclassifying them, pulling out what we didn't name before and preparing for season 2.
I think that's a big piece. If we could pause on that for a second when you just said pulling out what we didn't name before, because again, we're healing out loud. Mm-hmm. And I know at the end, Tiff and I are going to recap what season 1 meant to us. But as I listen to and revisit a lot of the feedback that we received throughout the season, where it talked about Tiff was really healing out loud and Ebony was healing in whispers. And I think that that's true. I think that the way that we've healed along our journey, it totally makes sense. Tiffany is very outwardly communicative around what she's feeling, and her words, not mine. She was a fighter, and would fight often growing up, where I was more of an intellectual and would, be strategic in planning how I, quote unquote, would fight you in air quotes.
Revenge.
Revenge, basically, right. Which is a little creepy. And I can't honestly say I don't do that now. So those are things that I'm still working on, is to not have that intellectual, why can't I say that word? Intellectual fighting.
Yes.
Within myself. I did it all by myself. Well, I guess I did it with some help. So those are the things that I just want to thank the audience for, because if it wasn't called out, it doesn't mean that I wouldn't have recognized it, because I'm that dope and I am a Leo. So I would have recognized it, because as we listen back to all 7 episodes, we learned so much. And we'll give you more of those, more of that as we recap the season at the end. And again, this is a great time. If you're listening and you haven't subscribed yet, this is your invitation. Mm-hmm. Not for the numbers, but because we want you to be in the room as we move forward. Season 1 was about language for accountability. It was about peace. It was about boundaries, and it was about choice.
And every episode was circling the same truth, that healing stalls when we keep negotiating our worth.
Our world with the negotiating our worth. Yeah, negotiating your worth.
I feel like a lot of people do that subconsciously, though.
100%. Yeah. 100%. I can, from a transparent standpoint, I think anytime somebody talks about transparency, I take a step back, like, how honest are you? Because there's honesty and then there's transparency. But what I've reflected on for the first 7 episodes is how much I did negotiate my worth where I thought I wasn't. So to your point, I know for a fact, especially with someone as intellectual as I am, to know that I negotiated my worth at times, just shows you that we're human. Yes, I am the standard. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm 49 and I'll be 50 in August. But anyway, negotiating your worth isn't about low confidence, though, Tiffany. It happens when your needs create friction.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it's about. So when I think about negotiating my worth, it wasn't about having low confidence. It was more about not wanting to create friction, which is interesting because I'm very confrontational. I don't have an issue with confrontation. Mm-hmm. What's the smirk for?
I agree.
That I'm confrontational?
Yes.
But why are you agreeing, moving your eyes from left to right? What are you thinking with your agreement?
I was just thinking about, different moments.
Moments is a better word.
Yeah.
That we've had.
Yeah.
Or I've had with other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like just being a spectator on how you communicate with people. Mm. Like it could either go the way we want it to go or it could go another way.
Yeah.
And I've witnessed that.
So it's surprising when you hear things like, I didn't want friction, even though I'm okay with confrontation.
Yes, because it never seemed like you didn't want it.
I mean, most people think like I live for it. I don't. It's just necessary as an adult.
I think it's the way it comes out, though. Like,
tell me more.
I think, you know how when someone is contemplating friction and they got to count to 10? Like, I'm a count to 10 type of bitch. Okay. And I'm like, do I really want to spaz? But you're like, count to 2. And then you say, yeah, we're doing this.
Ebony's a count to 2? Yeah. Hold on, back up. Because Oprah's listening, so I'm going to stop you. I keep hashtagging the queen because somebody came for her on a podcast this week and she handled them. And I was like, that's my new handle. So Oprah is listening. That's how I want to act in season 2, is that Oprah is listening. Not that Oprah won't get my curse words, but let me think about what we're saying. So you're telling me that the intellectual Ebony is 1, 2, let's go. And Tiffany is count to 10. Unpack that.
But even when you think about the way we grew up, how I was a fighter.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not good with words, but
of course
I don't care to use them on somebody that 100%. I don't like.
Yeah.
And you are, I have words for this immediately. So that's what I meant.
The language for it.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's not that you don't think about what you're saying. It's you're ready. You're already prepared. The moment someone says something, you're 2 seconds in and you have a response.
I think that's where when you think about it wasn't about low confidence for me. It was more about the friction part of it for me than it was anything else. And when you already know the answer, but you keep revisiting the question, like you just said, I think the story that I could share around that, Tiff, is in my previous relationship, there were people involved where I was trying to do things different, right? Mm-hmm. I was trying to count to 10, as you said. And there were people where I just decided that I didn't want to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. But I'm not built that way. I'm built to converse. Mm-hmm. I'm built to have the conversation. I'm built with language. I am a fluent thinker. Mm-hmm. So what I found is it didn't lessen my confidence, but where I didn't want to create friction in certain areas, it doesn't work for me. Like there are some people who are not yet in the best place in their healing journey and they're able to suppress things. I can't do that. It only lasts, but for a certain amount of time for me.
Yeah.
So I have so many examples of when I did that and when it didn't work for me. And I found in this most previous chapter of my life, I had to do it more than often. And that's when you know that that's not the right chapter for you. And it's time to move on. So what I'll ask about that is, because when I think about it, as we start to like unpack all of this, I would think that episode 8 could be, tell me what you're thinking. What changes when you stop negotiating your worth? Because that's the phase that I'm in now. Is we talked about all of this just by unpacking like where we are and what we're thinking about as it relates to season 1. But what changes when you stop negotiating your worth? That's where I think we are.
Yeah.
As we kind of hone in and recap.
I think that's how we move into the remix of season 1.
I love a good.
The topics that we covered. Now we're taking those topics and conflict resolution, or finding a resolution to the things that we talked about, episodes 1 through 8.
So when we talk about, how do you protect your peace, what peace is, what peace isn't, what you're going to find in the 4 weeks that we're on a hiatus is, as Tiffany indicated, we're going to remix what is peace, where we take you beyond your therapist chair. And we ask different types of questions of you, not where we're talking about it on a podcast, but where you're going to have to really tune in to social media and potentially YouTube. We're not really sure what we're doing with that yet, but we do want to expand beyond the thought, because what we have found as seasoned therapy goers, is that a right way to reference that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are accurate words.
Okay. We're seasoned therapy goers, or participants, is that we know that the first few hours that we spent in the studio when we should have been recording this episode, unpacking beyond the chair, that's not work that we can always do with our therapists. But you do have to find a community, and let's just be transparent. I have been lucky enough to be in spaces where I have a village and I have a tribe. And so does Tiffany. But not everybody always has that extension to their therapist.
Yeah.
And their therapist doesn't always feel warm and fuzzy to them, where they can take certain conversations. You should be able to talk to your therapist about anything. But what we know is we're not certified in this. So when we're asking questions, we're asking from experience. We're asking from our triggers. We're asking from or because of our trauma or because of our triggers. So that's where we're trying to go in season 2, is taking you beyond your therapist chair.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the remix of it all, Tiff. You're smiling. What are your thoughts?
I'm excited. I'm just excited about the dialogue that we'll create as we move into season 2.
I could not agree with you more. I was going to say disagree, because I like disagreeing with you for some reason.
See, I told you, it only take you 2 seconds.
It only takes me 2 seconds. You just proved your whole point. You literally you were waiting to prove your point, wasn't you? You didn't know that. You knew I would hand you that. And you took it. Okay. Well played, Tiff. Well played. So if I'm asking questions, I think my first question for you, ma'am, and maybe we'll throw you in this episode where you lead with some questions so we can make one listener happy. They're like, Tiff needs to ask more questions. Trust me, she asked enough before we go on. But what were we really naming when we talked about the apology? What were we really naming when we talked about the apology?
I think that sometimes we hear apologies and our nervous system is like,
oof.
Oh, this person cares. This person is sorry. And then 2 days later, your nervous system is like, this bitch is a liar. So it's like, you can give apologies or receive apologies, and then they not mean anything if they're not tied to actual behaviors. So,
how can I love somebody else? Hell yeah. That song came to life, and it's a full circle moment. Love somebody. If you can't love yourself enough. Yeah. So apologies without repair ask us to negotiate our worth.
Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily have because, sometimes apologies come with different types of tension.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the moment you don't feel it, but then later you're like, when you're revisiting the emotions that it causes, this doesn't feel good to me. But for me personally, I don't have a lot of moments where people apologize and I'm just accepting an apology even though it didn't feel good to me. I know instantly when an apology doesn't feel good. And so
For sure.
if it doesn't feel good to me, it's not going to feel good. It's not going to feel good for you to give me that apology. And
Let me not say for sure, because sometimes you reflect and you be like, that was some bullshit. Oprah's listening. So that was unnecessary. And then you're like, wait, that really wasn't an apology. That was about proximity.
Yeah, and appeasing.
And appeasement too, for sure. For sure. Have I ever, I'm trying to think, have you and I in a year and a half that we've known each other, have we had to have like an apology session?
I don't think you've ever apologized to me, and I don't think I've ever apologized to you for anything. I think that we communicate effectively.
We do.
We establish common ground, and we move forward.
I mean, oh, you got a man.
You single?
You're my type of relationship. I'm like, you gotta go. Wait, nope.
But you know what, though? These relationships should be necessary or required in all facets 100%. Of relationships, whether if it's platonic or intimate. Like, you should have the same baseline for everybody. It doesn't matter who the fuck they are. You don't get a special pass.
I think that's,
even my
that's the joke. Oh, yeah.
Because if it's fuck me, then fuck you.
Is it fuck? Oh my God. You see
that's the way I like it.
She said that today. If it's fuck me, then it's fuck you, including my kids. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I had to take a step back with my judgment because I'm a Leo. So what do?
We judge and frame it as honesty.
Correct. And I realized, oh, hold on. Because I'm about that life with my kids too. Ironically enough, last week this current week on our podcast that you guys are listening to, the most recent podcast before you hear this one, I was talking about my son and I was saying how he's so in love with me. And he's a basketball coach at his high school basketball. He's a high school basketball coach at the high school he attended. And I went to see his kids play last night in Durham, and it was amazing. I like when the kids come to Durham. I like when those southern kids come to dirty Durham. Bull City, I should say, because it's not dirty. Let's not put any more stigmas out there.
Leave the stigmas. The more stigmas, the less people
come. Property values are going up. That's true.
Let's preserve.
We are looking for land right now, so it's like you might be right about that. But when he turned around as the halftime was approaching, he turned around and he was about to go back with his team, and he kind of waved me to come over, and then we hugged, and he just looked at me and I was like, what's wrong? And he was like, I'm just scanning you. I told y'all niggas I got fans, and my fans matter. My fans are the two that I gave birth to. I love that they look at me with so much admiration. First of all, I think he looked at me like I was the cutest girl in the gym. Let me say that first. But then it was like, that's my mom. And there's such a love and appreciation for your first looking at you that way, because as you all know, I'm 20 years older than Jared. So we grew up together. And when I look at him, I have the same admiration that he has for me.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we have in common.
Yeah, we do.
I also had my son, my first son, when I was 20.
We have that in common. And I don't even know, I think that kind of got unpacked here on a podcast as well. Like, I knew when you had them, but it didn't make sense until that day. I was like, oh my God, we have that. We have something in common. It's the way we feel about each other.
You got me.
Wait.
I don't know that song.
You don't know Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown?
Not that song.
It's the way we feel about each other when we're together.
That's crazy.
Oh, we got to play that. I got to play that for Tiff, because anytime she explains anything to me about music or a movie, I never know.
Never.
This is the first time I feel so accomplished right now that she doesn't know something.
I'm actually in complete shock. Y'all should see my face. I know I got those 3 lines in my forehead right now.
So
my eyebrows
this is where our 13-year difference showed up. Yes. I'm finally the senior to this relationship. Because when you deal with, I'm the bridge, as you all know, I'm the bridge between the boomers and the millennial. I am the bridge. That makes sense. It would make sense that I'm the bridge between something. Of course, I'm so great. But today is such a proud moment for me. So we'll be playing that song after we get off this podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Because anything Bobby and Whitney, you got to know.
I love Whitney Houston.
Oh, my world, baby.
Bobby, I'm on the fence about, but
crack is cheap, darling.
Crack is whack.
But thank you for sharing that part about just negotiating your worth. I know when I think about episodes 1 through 7, and just a little bit of an overshare, but from an apology standpoint, Like my ex-fiance and I have finally had a conversation where we didn't unpack it all because there's too much to unpack, and I don't know if we'll ever unpack it all, but we are in a very civil place. We're not in a place of unity, meaning returning to a relationship. But I'm glad that I've never been an advocate, and I'm not still an advocate of closure. I don't think closure is necessary. But the love that we shared is love that she nor I have ever experienced in our lives. And it makes me uncomfortable to say that it was a closure conversation because I don't believe in closure, but I was happy that I was at a space, and I think this podcast helped me to get there. I was at a space where I could take the call and have a conversation around not just her apologizing to me, but me feeling grounded enough in my own journey to be able to see areas in which I needed to grow and I needed to evolve in our relationship, which I didn't always see that clearly.
It's a humbling experience.
It's humbling, yeah. And I think what I want the listener, don't listen to the gossip of it all. Clear your head, shoulders down. Listen to what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is this is a woman healing out loud in front of you verbally, where you can hear me. Those of you who think that I'm very introverted with my thoughts.
Which is humbling enough.
Yeah.
Because we're Leos and we're perfect. So just saying.
We have yes. But it was an enlightening conversation. But it was also refreshing because it was a space that I never thought I could get to with anybody. Because I am very focused on the past being the past. And I know in my first relationship, once it ended, I hadn't talked to that person from that day. And I was comfortable with that type of life because I didn't have any regrets. And it's not that I would have necessarily had regrets here, but I'm glad that she was humble enough and mature enough to be able to want to have a conversation around how do we just make sure we see each other as humans so we're not enemies.
Yeah.
And I appreciate her for that. So if she's listening, shoulders down. Thank you for having the conversation. So that's how I feel about the apology piece. I didn't know that part was going to come out, but when we're thinking
that's
about
why we're here.
Transparency, there you have it.
So why do you think peace deserves its own conversation? Because silence is often mistaken as peace versus talking about it, talking through it.
Because I think that's the misconception, is that you think that your silence is peace. It's not.
It's avoidance, actually.
It's avoidance, number one. Number two, what I've learned as well, and I know I want to unpack boundaries because that was also a podcast that we had, a topic that we definitely went over. But what I'm learning about the peace piece is it starts with boundaries, right? How I want to move forward in my healing journey is if I'm having to start a list of boundaries for someone, I need to reevaluate that relationship altogether. That was an unlock for me as I went through episode after episode after episode. Even though boundaries came very early on in our season, when I listened to it, I realized, oh, we've had this wrong the whole time. If you're having to put together boundaries to keep said person in your life, then you need to just rethink this person being in your life altogether. So when you think about the peace being mistaken for, or silence being mistaken for peace, the reason why you're not saying anything is because your goal is to not create friction. And this journey requires friction. And I think that's a misconception, is if we stay quiet, that's peace, and it's not. If you're going through a healing journey, it requires friction, and it requires friction when you're dealing with someone that you have to have friction with. You can't just stay silent.
Yeah, I'm a ride the fence on that one, mostly because.
Then don't talk about Madison Sealy when she.
Hey, that's my girl. I point out her riding that fence, but I mean, at the end of the day, I get it because I agree with what you're saying. In regards to people that you want to have in your life, when it's someone that doesn't bring anything to my life, you don't add anything, you don't bring shit but drama and distractions,
That's fair.
You can get silence. I told you I would ghost a bitch real quick.
Quietly detention.
Period. That's
100%.
it. So, I mean, I'm with it in regards to if this person is meaningful to me.
100%.
But if they're not, then it's just like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think I emphasized that in the point I was trying to make. And that's what I was saying, is that you have to value the relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think, it's not that I didn't value my first marriage. It has nothing to do with that. It's just, when your time is up, right? And we had conquered everything we needed to conquer. As I said, my kids are the big G, and that's the GREAT. And there was nothing else to do there. We had a college graduate. We had a rising, I think senior, actually she was on her way to college as well. So there wasn't anything else for us to do, because I think marriages, if you're not going to save them before your kids leave the house, don't try to save. Yeah. Don't do your best not to save them after. Now here, I'm not giving marriage advice by any means, but what I am saying is
you have the experience and expertise to give marital advice.
I just think that
23, 24?
24 years, I believe. Shoulders down, I think it's 24 years. But I wish that the work, and when I say wish, not wishing for anything, I'm saying in terms of just the thought of it.
In general.
The work started when Madison was in high school, and the commitment was there to move our relationship forward. So once we got to the point of divorce, it was time to let the relationship go. So to your point, there wasn't much more to talk about. I wasn't reserving, my thoughts for peace. I was at peace. I just had to get through the grieving. And I embarked on a journey that was filled with not just a regular therapist, as I've indicated. I also had a divorce therapist, which was very transformational. But what I realized in my engagement relationship was that there was still some unresolved things from my previous marriage. And I didn't know it until I was triggered. I didn't know that there was so much abandonment in my first marriage, but it just showed up differently, where she triggered my childhood abandonment. Because I think about my first marriage, we left New York. It was just the two of us, and primarily raised our kids alone. Not that there weren't people that helped us along the way, and we were very appreciative of that, but primarily the two of us raised our children together. Our schedules dictated, how we lived, and also impacted our marriage in many ways. So when I was in my second relationship and pending marriage, I found myself being in a position where I was feeling things that I had never felt before. And to uncover that with my therapist, to know then, oh, okay, this is abandonment issues. And then starting to work on that led us to this podcast, 6 episodes in, then the 7th episode. And as we're reviewing it, preparing for the the last episode of the season, which is episode 8. And that is what changes when you stop negotiating your worth, is a full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
So selfishly, this podcast got me through another hard time in my life, but I feel like I'm coming through bigger, better than ever.
Yeah. I feel like this podcast also helped me get through a challenging time, but it didn't feel I feel like if we weren't doing this, I would be all in my head on my own, and I would be spiraling, and I would still be at my last location. I think
probably
this kind of put that battery in my back to be like, I'm not explaining shit to you hoes.
Oprah's listening.
Oh, sorry, Oprah, but you're going to get the real. She know what's up.
But to your point, it helped me to understand the gravity in which you see peace. Because what I realized was, when I was in corporate America, instead of using my intellectual horsepower to outsmart and be more strategic than anyone else, I was not essentially, let's use the right verbiage, I was jeopardizing my peace. And what I watched you do, and it unfolded in front of me, is that quietly detach, where you do protect your peace at all costs. So not only were you saying it, you showed me it. Because in that moment, I said, oh shit, Tiff, this is you protecting your peace. And you said, oh shit, it is.
Because and I didn't even realize.
You didn't even think of it.
I just knew that this don't feel good and I got to do something else. And once the opportunity was presented for me to change, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for that and see where that takes me. It can't be worse than what I'm already experiencing.
Can't be worse than, and I think that falls right into, as we unpack the first 7 episodes, why does guilt follow boundaries?
I think because sometimes you unintentionally hurt the other person's
air quotes,
the other person's feelings. But as I said before, I don't feel guilt when I take care of Tiff. I don't. But I did. So,
because if you fuck me, then fuck you.
Period. But I did start reflecting on like things that I've experienced in my past in regards to like friendship, because I don't feel like I've ever had to over-explain in my relationship with my husband. When I tell you God gave me this man because I needed him, like a lot of the traumas and triggers that I experienced.
Can you just sit there for a second? Just come on. Sorry, you guys heard me swallow, but can you just sit here for a second? Because I have a few models that's how you say it, yeah, that you and I discussed early on in our relationship. I don't want to be around women. And I would say men, but I'm going to focus on women right now just because we're 2 women. I don't want to be around women that don't have gratitude and the space and the levity to say, I love my husband. I need my husband. I want my husband. I don't want anybody around me that doesn't have that mindset.
Yeah.
And when you said that about Reese, and you've said many things about Reese in the last 7 episodes, but I want us to pause there. As you say, I always say, slow down before we speed up. Like, how do we slow down before we speed up? Because that's such a beautiful thing. In addition to, as I look at future relationships, I am protecting my future relationship at all costs. And I think the other thing is, and I'm gonna swing it back to you because this Leo shit, we gotta, but it came to me, and I know you're gonna remember. The other thing is whatever you're asking for in your relationship, you have to be willing to give. And when we had this, you slow that down. You got to be willing to give. And I think sometimes we have these lists and we're like, I want this, and this, but you got to be willing to give that.
Yeah.
It is reciprocity. Reciprocity means you give it, you get it back.
And sometimes it's not giving that. Sometimes it's giving something else.
100%.
So that you could get that.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it's still reciprocity. It's just not the way you would picture it.
I want to be around couples who like their partner.
Me
Period.
too. Shit.
I want to be around couples who like their partners. And that's not a perfect couple. That's not a perfect couple. Because I want to stress that I'm not looking for perfect couples, because by no means there are any. By any means there aren't any. But when I think about you and Reese and what you give to each other, it's not perfection, but it's exactly what each person needs.
And I mean, honestly, above all is respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes, don't get me wrong, like we don't argue. We've come so far into our relationship that we don't really argue or raise our voices. We do disagree, but sometimes if I'm not feeling respected in the conversation, I'll say, I don't like this conversation and I'm good. And then that triggers him to be like, oh, fuck. All right, I said something. And then he'll try to explain his side. You know how I get? I put them fucking headphones on.
It's an adult woman walking around her house.
Talk to me tomorrow.
Over the head, guys, too. Over the head, which is safer. More safe than AirPod.
Yeah.
We love that for you. But yeah, I want to be around couples who, and I don't know if you expanded on the thought you were making about Reese and I cut you off.
Well, I was reflecting on when I felt like I had to over-explain. And I made a pit stop to say that I never felt the need to over-explain myself to my husband. We just have that relationship where he gets me and I get him. But I had a friendship and I was young. I was like 22, 23. And she was having an event and she wanted people to come. And some of these people was like, we're single. We don't really want to go. And me trying to support her, I'm like, I mean, why not come? You kill two birds with one stone. You could support her. And in return, you get free food and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And she got offended by that to the point where she needed a sit down.
She got offended by you saying
to eat. She took me saying that as for people to come freeload off of her.
But they're gonna come eat anyway.
You invited them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just
she was serving food, correct?
Yes. That's why I was just like, so now I'm trying to explain to her that I was trying to support you and getting them to understand that you should come support her, but also there's going to be food and drinks and music.
That was her issue, not yours.
But I remember that when I tell you I cried and everything because I was trying to get her to understand that I would never tell someone to freeload off you. Right. And then I realized like the other day when I was going over everything, I was just like, that was just her being a bad friend.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
The lack of understanding,
and it didn't have to be all that. It didn't have to be so emotionally scarring for me because she purposely wanted to misunderstand where I was coming from, and I found myself over explaining, and that shit felt terrible to the point where I was like, I will never do that shit again. I will ghost you and never be your friend again before I over explain and cry about something you misunderstood.
I think one of, because I have so many learns in the last year, but one of the biggest learns that I had was being misunderstood my entire life, but more so professionally, right? Mm-hmm. And in the last few years personally. And what I learned, and this is coming from top psychologists across the board, what I learned is if people want to misunderstand you, they will. Mm-hmm. If people want to understand you, they will. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really giving any effort. This is year 49. We're 6 months to 50. I'm not giving any more effort to anyone.
We're 6 months away from August?
We are.
What the fuck?
And you guys are going to want to throw up when we get closer to Leo season because that's all you're going to hear about, even though you hear about it daily and weekly from us.
The month of August is going to be
first of all, it's year 50 for me. So we're celebrating so much, but I'm so happy to be in this space at 50 to say, if they want to misunderstand you, they will. Mm. So I'm not going to do a lot for you to understand me anymore.
Yeah.
That is also not compromising my peace.
Period.
But I think when we talk about boundaries and why does guilt follow boundaries, and I think it's because guilt is withdrawing from a system that benefits from your silence. If I'm guilty, then I stay silent and then the system continues to run the way that it is. But with me setting boundaries for myself going forward, I look at them different than my past. I look at if I'm having to set a set of boundaries for said person, I'm reevaluating the relationship as a whole now.
You don't think we should set boundaries for every person that comes into or who is in our lives?
I mean, it's something that I would like to give more thought to, but I'm thinking about the boundaries that I've had to set since I was 28. What this podcast has allowed me to do is reflect in a way of why did I have to set that boundary? Mm. It's really the conversation is a boundary driven conversation, but just think about it. As a listener right now, think about how many people you've set boundaries for. Why did you have to set those boundaries? And then if you're still around those people, how do you feel around them? Because what I'm starting to remember is the people that I've set these boundaries for are people that I probably shouldn't be around anymore anyway. That's what I want you to think about. Not that boundaries are not valuable, because they are, right? Like you're resetting some boundaries at home. You're not going to throw your kids out and not ever be their mom because you have to, because I know if it's fuck me, then fuck you. I get it. But in reality, Tiffany, you're not.
Yeah.
Or not at this point, right? Because there's a lot of consciously uncoupling as families too right now. So I'm just thinking about what boundaries are and are not for me. And if I'm having to set these rigid boundaries with people, I just don't think that they should be in my life anymore. So I'm reassessing what that looks like. So that's why I was talking about the benefit of boundaries and how when you go against the system and you're not silent, it creates this eruption within families. Like, I'm the cycle breaker in my family. I'm the problem child, but I'm not.
Do you feel guilty for doing that? For being that person?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. And I don't know if our listeners know now, when I say it twice, I'm like, oh shit, that's a really good question. I think that there are times when I do feel guilty. I think when it comes to the mothers, the fathers, meaning my mother, my father, not anyone else's, let me not put it out there, just bring it back to me. I think when it comes to that immediate family, like your siblings, your parents, I think there is some guilt, but I have worked so hard on me and the decisions that I've made for myself that I can quickly move beyond guilt. I can, because if we're not in each other's company, meaning if there's someone that I'm currently not engaging with, it's not that I don't take any responsibility for it, but what I will tell that person or whoever is listening, and we have any type of, what's the word I'm looking for? We have any type of
communication,
distance
distance
in our relationship, I'm going to challenge you to look at yourself, because I've looked at myself again and again and again. So I'm going to challenge one to look within themselves, because what we tend to do when we are mostly unhealed, have to call that out, is we're always looking to see where the problem is, and the problem is usually you. So to answer your question, have I felt guilt around it? Yes. Do I live in shame and guilt about it? I do not. I sleep really well knowing that certain people are in my life and certain people are out of my life. And that's the truth. It could be harsh receiving it, but that really is the reality of how I see it.
But why do you feel like protecting your peace is harsh? You care too much.
I don't feel like protecting my peace is harsh, but I don't think protecting my peace is harsh, because protection removes access. I think that's where it starts to feel harsh to me, is because you want to have a relationship with people you love, but you also have to make sure that you protect your aura, your peace, your immediate environment. So I don't think that is harsh. I think I have been extremely harsh.
So the delivery.
Oh, 100%. There were other ways to say things, 100%. But I think, again, that goes back to what the psychologists are saying, and that is, when people want to misunderstand you, they misunderstand you. So because I am the 1-2, I'm ready to say something person, I can be more thoughtful in the future, or I could just live in who I am, because I have a host of people where I live in that space and they love me exactly the way that I am. In addition to, they're in a more healed space in their life, so they understand it from a different point of view. So again, if I'm saying something to Tiffany versus another person, you have a different set of lens that they do not have. So they're always going to make me the problem. And I'm at a point at 49, turning 50 in 6 months, that I'm okay with that distance.
You know, I think I only find myself being harsh towards the people that are closest to me. Like, if I don't, if I don't value the relationship, it comes off as ghosting. Like, I literally just let it all go. But like, relationships that are non-negotiable, my husband, my children, my brother,
gotta work
my tribe, like those people who know me deeper, sometimes when I am reestablishing my boundaries, it comes off harsh.
That's understandable. And
if anybody knows, Mitchell knows.
That's understandable.
But ain't no damn poor Mitchell. That nigga be bringing out the worst in me sometimes.
You allow him to.
Well, that's me being harsh.
Yeah.
Reestablishing my boundaries.
Yeah, you allow him to.
So because that's a relationship that I value.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
But yeah, sometimes I get harsh, and then that's where I see change.
Yeah.
In you know, both parties. So.
But I think we're taking this tour on the road. And there are people that I consciously uncoupled with. And I'm going to be reaching out to those people in the near future to reestablish potentially a relationship or to have closure in what is already there. Like, I'm fine with either because my life feels full right now. And as I approach year 50, there are just certain expectations that I have for myself. And I think this whole, you know, Maddie talks about this often. If I hear somebody talk about protecting their peace one more time, Mom, if I hear about triggers one more time, I'm like, aren't you getting further in your education to be a therapist? Like, you're going to be hearing about this a lot more. But for me, I'm no longer in a space, and I've said this for 20 plus years. I am not excuse me, Oprah, cover your ears for a second. I'm not fucking setting myself on fire another day to keep a motherfucker warm.
Period.
I am not setting myself on fire to keep another motherfucker warm.
You hoes gonna have to get hypothermia.
I love
hypothermia?
That. Yes. And I've been saying that for years. And to finally be at a space, in a place where I believe it, I receive it, and you will feel it. So just come at me, correct?
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with anything and anybody. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to be disrespectful. If you need to look up a few words and understand what the definitions are, come to me with that too. But prepare for conversations with me because I'm centered. I know what I want. I know what I expect. And I'm going to ask the tough questions. So be prepared to have those type of conversations. Yes. But I'm willing to explore a few more relationships that I've kind of had at bay. And there's some relationships where I just want to leave them exactly where they are because they don't serve me. They don't feed me. And if you're not winding my back, I don't want to wind your back anymore. And I looked at my healing journey in the wrong way for a long time. It's, oh, I have the skills. Oh, I can do better. Oh, I can push myself. It's like, fuck that. I chose to embark on this journey. I chose to do the fucking hard work. Those were decisions that I actively made. And now I'm letting other people off the hook because they're choosing not to. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've never seen a therapist. You are a human. And you know right from wrong, and you don't yell at your boss that way, and you don't yell at the girl at the supermarket that way, and you have all of your southern and northern pleasantries. You know when to rise and you know when to fall. So don't be disrespectful to me. And that's what I'm starting to remember now. These are the same people who show up in the world smiley, who show up in the world respectful, but yet they want to be disrespectful to me. And then I tell myself, oh, they haven't been through a healing journey. I'm not setting myself on fire to keep
because we don't care. We don't care what the fuck they doing and not doing.
I'm not doing that anymore. And I think a great transition would be the Do You Matter episode.
Why did we ask, do I matter? It's because it's unstable worth gets measured by attention.
When your worth gets measured by attention. Yeah. I think that's what I just said. Is me going through a healing journey, I felt like I had more skills so that I had to bring more to the table. And I want you to process that. Even if you don't unpack it today on this podcast, I want you to think about how much more as a healed community or healing, ING, no ED, we bring to the table because we have more tools on our tool belt. Which means we continue to lower the standard for everybody else in our lives. Just something to think about. Because when we stop negotiating our worth, our language shortens, our decisions clarify, and our peace stabilizes. I also think for those of us who have healed in certain areas in their lives, and who are still unraveling and unpacking and healing in other areas of their lives, Continue to give yourself compassion. Continue to give yourself grace. Continue to give yourself empathy because you're doing the fucking hard work. And those are the things that get forgotten about. You know, when you look on social media, it's all about the big and the materialistic shit. Where's the awards for these motherfuckers like us that are in the trenches, going to therapy, writing in our journals, trying to find better ways to communicate? Make that shit real. Make that shit important. We focus on the wrong shit. I am one person in the midst of maybe 60 people, not even that many people in my family. I can only think about 3 people in my family that are cycle breakers. Sometimes you don't even have one person in your family that's a cycle breaker.
Bruh.
But the fact that I can show my kids I'm going to leave them this legacy, in addition to when I fall in love again, I'm leaving my kids a love legacy. Why? They're college educated. They traveled the world. They can build their own empire. We got to think different. We got to give our kids more than just stuff and things. So being a cycle breaker is the number one priority for me. Leaving my kids a love, just a journey of love, is a number one priority for me. Shit is intact for me. I understand. I have the roadmap for where I want to go. Mm-hmm. So you have the roadmap for where you want to go. But that's what I want our audience to understand. If you are that person that is in a healing journey, thinking about a healing journey, want to be a cycle breaker, it's not going to be easy, but it is the fucking most rewarding job you will ever have. And if you never see it on social media, we're here to tell you we're building a brand around it. Mm-hmm. And that's the Fluent brand. It is time to talk about real shit. And don't get it twisted in my cute outfit today. We're all about fashion, beauty, and things. But more so, it's about our journey. Why are you smirking at me?
Because you're cute.
But I'm not your type. It's okay. You're not my type. But seriously, when you stop negotiating your fucking words, sorry, Oprah, but we got to keep it real. Your language shortens, our decisions clarify, and our peace stabilizes. Mm-hmm. And I'm going into year 50. I'm stabilized. I'm stable.
I can't wait to turn 50.
Yes, you can. 40s are amazing.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God, yes. Because it prepares you for this decade. Year 4, I knew at 44 that things were changing. I felt it.
But I already feel like
it's
a different person.
You're already doing the work. The work started to become clear to me year 38, 39. It hit me 40. By 44, I kind of got it. It clicked for me. Mm-hmm. So the fact, and remember this started at 28. So the fact that you're in your 30s, you're already in the thick of it, your 40s are going to be even better. This is where you and Reese need to make sure you recalibrate. Mm-hmm. So you're moving this bus together. Because you excel as a woman in your 40s. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what 50 is going to bring. I'm so stoked about my 50s. Like, Lord have mercy, move over if you guys were nauseous by me in my 40s and my 30s. I don't know what the hell you're going to see in my 50s because there's so much confidence being driven right now. I'm stabilized.
Yeah.
I'm stable in so many ways that feel most important to me.
And I say that because sometimes, because, you know, I'm house hunting right now. And sometimes I'm like, man, we could just go to the country and just like retire and just do nothing. But then the other part of me is just like,
she's building a brand. I really don't know what she's talking about right now. Not just with me. We're building the Fluent brand and she's building so many other things, but we'll let her talk. We'll let her have her dream. She loves living in the South dreaming. Go ahead. You gonna go to the country? What you gonna do?
I don't know. I'm gonna get bored and bring my ass back to Durham.
But you know what we talked about? Both of us love slow mornings. We love to ease into the studio. I don't know why we say we're going to be here at 9. We need to just change that time to, like, we need to ease into our day. That's what I love about you, is that we can be morning people. Yeah. We'll do what we need to do for the bad. However, but what we have learned is we like to ease into our day. We really do. Yeah. But as I think about the how I'm stabilizing my peace too, Tiff, I stand firm on You don't stop caring.
Mm-hmm.
You stop bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't stop caring. You stop bargaining.
Yeah.
I love that. That just came to me. That just came to me. It's like, I won't explain what I've already communicated.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes back to, I won't explain what I've already communicated. We won't trade peace for proximity. What won't you do?
I won't confuse anxiety with love.
What does that mean?
Butterflies.
Mm.
Because sometimes your nervous system is trying to tell you something. And when you experience trauma as a kid, your brain misinterprets what your body is trying to tell you.
That's why I look at my trauma as my superpower. I don't look at it as negativity anymore. I look at my wisdom from what I experienced. Now I'm taking on. So we look at the molestation, right? What that did, and the armor and the anger and all of that. Now I look at being a child that felt abandoned my whole life and understanding and unpacking that. I look at that as my superpower now. I leverage it in a positive way versus a negative way.
Mm-hmm. Same. And I don't audition for safety.
That makes sense for you. That you won't audition for safety.
Mm-mm.
That totally makes sense. And that's an area that I had to revisit in the last few months, in the last few years, I should say, is maybe not wording it that way, but in the reality, it was an audition for safety. Mm-hmm. And I love that I'm stable now and I don't need to do that. Like, I matter without negotiation. Season 1 was all about awareness. Season 2 is practice, real time, real relationships, all of the above, right? Mm-hmm. No, what were you going to say? I feel like I cut you off.
I think season 1 was the perfect beginning of something beautiful in regards to, like, me personally, is about my emotional regulation, being in control of my emotions.
I was trying not to take that deep breath out on when you were talking, but it's like to be, the Jay Shetty effect. Like, you need to breathe through shit sometimes. And when you said that, I felt that. Mm-hmm. Can you say that one more time?
It's important for me to be in control of my emotions at all times, regardless of external factors.
That's the haves and the have-nots. Mm-hmm. That is the haves and the have-nots, is being in control of your emotions. So what I've been leveraging lately is the 30, 60, and 90-minute delays. Mm. If you could get to 30, hear me, audience. If you get to that 30-second delay, that's one tool on your tool belt. Mm-hmm. It doesn't button your belt, but it's one tool on your tool belt. When you get to 60 seconds, it starts to feel really good. And when you get to a 90-second delay, your decisions will get better. Mm-hmm. Look it up. It's scientifically proven that when you get to the 90 seconds of thinking about something and not doing anything, not making any decisions for 90 seconds, because what did you tell me, Tiffany? I'm 1-2 and I'm ready. But when I got to 30 and then I got to 60 and now I've been at 90 for a few weeks, I'm loving where I am. Mm-hmm. It's made me a better human. It's made me a better, because this is the order. It's made me a better human. It's made me a better mom. And it's made me a better villager and triber to my community. Mm-hmm. And it's making me a better daughter, eventually a better sister, and a better family member, because that's my priorities. So I love that you shared it in that way. And Tiff, do you have anything you want to share to kind of recap season 1 for our audience?
Yeah. Season 1 showed me that healing doesn't always look pretty. Mine didn't come out calm or graceful. It came out messy, emotional, and sometimes loud. And I had to learn that growth doesn't mean you get it right every time. It means you keep showing up anyways. This season forced me to look at myself, how I handle pain, how I react when I'm hurt, and how I keep going while I'm still healing. And if you're listening and you're in the middle of that too, juggling life, love, work, and your own healing, give yourself grace and keep going. We're just getting started.
Isn't just me, because I'm breathing and I'm listening to you all at the same time, and I'm thinking, how do I recap season 1 for myself? Because that was fast. You did that pretty quick. Almost like you thought about it. You had a feeling I was going to ask you that, didn't you?
I stay ready. Stay strapped.
Oh, I have so many things to talk about with a strap, but
Oh my God.
That said, Oprah's listening. When I look back at season 1, I realized this podcast wasn't just a conversation. It was a movement. The big rocks in my life are things that changed everything. The molestation, the abandonment. And this season moved a big one for me. I came into this season healed in some places and healing in others. And what I learned is that healing isn't about blame. It's about responsibility. Owning your part, doing the hard work, choosing honesty over comfort. Fluence was never about perfection. It's about becoming fluent in who you are, even when it's uncomfortable. And if season 1 proved anything, is this: growth is possible when you stop running from yourself. This was season 1. Thank you for growing with us. This is work that is serious, and you're not doing it alone. Stay fluent, and we'll see you next season. Bye now.
Bye.
Yo, release what's in me. Besides the Henny, it's out there seen plenty. Things get skinny as if Queens was a crack Jenny. Instead of diet plans, it's crack 200 grams. I pump a G-Pack, peeping for where the D's at. It's slow, looking for Rambo, the cop who got grades back in the days. Chasing niggas through my project maze. That cop, he got a death wish. He run behind niggas until you breathless. Every day he making 10 arrest shit. My nigga, check this. I know the bitch he rests with. I even blessed it. 40-10 inspected. Already checked the done is ankle. You can see it's good.